If you are investing time in cloud skills right now, you need to know which ones are about to become worthless. I'm not talking about 5 years from now, I mean by end of 2026, and that's barely a year away. I'm Praveen Singh, Microsoft certified trainer and cloud solution consultant, and welcome to Cloud with Singh. I'm seeing something concerning in Azure community. People are still learning the skills that were valuable 3 years ago, but won't be relevant in 12 months from now. And the worst part, some of these are things that training programs and bootcamps are still teaching as essential skills. Let me walk you through 5 cloud skills that are losing their value fast, and more importantly, what you should be focusing on instead. The first one is something I see every single week. People who have built their entire skill set around manual deploying resources. You click through resources in Azure and fill out the form and deploy the resource. But here's the reality. By 2026, if you can't write infrastructure as code, you won't be hireable for any serious cloud roles. I'm not saying Portal is going away, of course it isn't, but companies are not hiring for people to click through wizards anymore. They need people who can write Terraform, Bicep, or ARM template. They need repeatability, version control, and consistency. When I first started in Azure, I spent months in Portal, and it was useful for learning. You get to see where things are, understand the relationship between different services, but at some point, you have to graduate from that. If your current workflow is log into Azure portal and build things manually, you are building a skill set with an expiration date, and that date is approaching fast. Here's what to focus on instead. Pick one infrastructure as code tool. Terraform if you want to be platform agnostic, or Bicep if you are Azure focused, and start building everything through code. Not just learning it, but actually using it for real deployment. The second skill that's becoming useless, and this one is going to sting for some people, is following runbooks and documentation without actually understanding what's happening underneath. A lot of cloud support engineer roles and junior DevOps roles are built around this. Whenever there's an issue, you look up the internal documentation and follow step 1 through 10 and the problem is solved. And the next ticket, AI can already do this better than humans. If your job is executing known procedures from a guide, you are doing the work that's being automated right now. I have seen this firsthand in Azure environments. Companies are implementing self-healing systems and AI-driven troubleshooting that automatically detects issue, reference documentation, and apply all the fixes. When you're troubleshooting an Azure environment issue, don't just run the recommended commands. Understand what those commands are actually doing and be the person who can improve the automation, not the person who gets replaced by it. The third skill that's losing value is having certification but no hands-on experience. Now, before you get defensive in the comments, I'm not saying certification are useless. I am a Microsoft certified trainer, so obviously I believe in the value of structured learning and proving your knowledge. But in 2026, having AZ 104 and 305 on your resume without actual project experience is not going to be enough. Employers have caught on. They have hired too many people who aced the exams but couldn't architect a production environment or troubleshoot a real issue. I have reviewed resumes where people had 5 certifications but their project section was empty. Or it was stuff like deployed a web app in Azure with no real detail. That doesn't work anymore. Here's what's replacing this. Portfolio project that proves that you can actually build things. Not just I deployed a VM, more like I built a hub and spoke network with secure connectivity, implemented conditional access policy, set up monitoring and alerting, and wrote whole thing in Terraform to automate the deployment. That shows you can actually do the work. The certification proves that you understand the concept. The project proves that you can execute. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you have project but not certification, you are more hireable than if you have certification but nothing on your resume that talks about the real skills. Skill number 4 that I see being going away is being good at reactive troubleshooting and manual monitoring. This used to be valuable. Somebody who could jump into an environment and look at the logs and figure out what's broken and fix it quickly. But we are moving into self-healing systems. Azure Monitor with automated response, AI-driven anomaly detections, systems that identify issue, correlate events, and apply fixes before a human even know there was an issue. By 2026, the expectations isn't can you fix this when it breaks? The expectation is did you design it so it doesn't break in the first place? When I'm working with the clients now, they don't want somebody to sit and watch dashboard all day waiting for something to go wrong. They want someone who can architect resilient systems, implement proactive monitoring, and build automations that handles the predictable issues automatically. Move away from I'm good at fixing broken things 2. I'm good at building things that don't break. Focus on prevention, automation, and self-recovery instead of manual interventions. The 5th skill that's becoming useless, and this is probably the most important one, is having cloud expertise but no understanding of AI integrations. If you're learning Azure in isolation without exploring Azure AI Foundry, Copilot integration, and how agents are being deployed in cloud environment, you are preparing for a job that won't exist. The cloud role is becoming an AI-augmented role. Cloud engineers need to understand how to deploy AI workload. Cloud architects need to understand how to design for AI interface and training requirements. Even infrastructure people need to understand how AI affects storage, compute, and networking decisions. I have turned down consulting inquiries from people who only want traditional cloud infrastructure, not because the work isn't needed, because the client who are serious about cloud are integrating AI into everything they do. They don't want two separate teams, cloud team and AI team. They want people who understand both. Don't treat AI as a separate topic. Start building projects that combine Azure infrastructure with AI capability. Deploy an AI model on Azure, set up AI Foundry, and build Copilot agents. Understand how RAG works with your own data. You don't need to become a data scientist, but you need to understand how AI workloads run on cloud infrastructure and how to design for them. Look, I know this might feel overwhelming or even discouraging. You might be thinking, I'm still trying to learn the basics and now you're telling me those basics don't matter. That's not what I'm saying. The fundamentals still matters. Understanding networking, security, identity management, that's not going away. But the way you apply those fundamentals is changing fast. People who will succeed in cloud careers over the next few years aren't the one who knows the most services or have the most certification. They are the one who can combine the foundational knowledge with automation, practical experience, and AI integration. So here's my question for you. Which one of these 5 skills are you currently investing time in? And which future focused skill are you actively building right now? Drop a comment and let me know. And I would genuinely like to hear what you are focusing your learning on. Thanks for watching. If this gave you some clarity on where to invest your time, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more practical Azure guidance. I'm Praveen Singh and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious and keep building.